الله أكبر الله أكبر الله بجد منا الله الشباب شو اسمه الله أكبر
President Assad refutes rumors. So it says here, and he performs the prayers in Damascus less than an hour after the so-called Free Syrian Army claimed it had targeted a convoy against Assad in Damascus. The Syrian leader refuted rumors as he appeared performing the prayers on Thursday morning. The Saudi-owned TV reported that Assad's convoy was targeted by mortar shells, but the government said, "I can assure you that it is completely false." Al-Qaeda replacing Assad as the biggest threat to the United States security, says CIA Deputy Director. I covered this last time on Wednesday. The second in command of the CIA says that the toppling of the Assad regime in Syria is the largest threat to the United States' national security, may help Al-Qaeda acquire chemical weapons. So he said the prospect of the Syrian government being replaced by Al-Qaeda is his biggest worry. The U.S. remains embarked on a plan that would aid Syrian rebels. They're already doing it by the way of supplying them with arms. They're already doing it. So with the Al-Qaeda extremists entwined in that same war against Assad, however, one wrong turn could cause the U.S. to accidentally equip its most feared enemy. So I'm sure that there's actual Free Syrian Army, basically defectors of the Syrian government and stuff that are fighting. But for all the news that I hear and the actual stuff that's going on, they're a small minority. And the amount of actual Syrians fighting against the government are a small minority at this particular point. Most of them are foreign jihadists. Also, if these FSA troops, that were actually Syrians, if they really did care about their country at this particular point, I think they would just lay down their weapons right now and just call it like a temporary truce. They've already a long time ago been given an opportunity for that, but it just seems kind of like, for all the disinfo that's going on, this is mostly foreign jihadists. It's hard to get the actual facts of what's going on in Syria unless you're there and talk to the local people. But from all this stuff that I've been covering, it seems that that's the case. That's mostly these foreigners that are doing this. Because if you're the FSA, why the hell would you want to keep doing this, pursuing this, if you're not going to have a country left afterwards, right? Kremlin denies Putin discussed Syria deal with Saudi spy chief. But it says here, concrete questions about military cooperation were not discussed at the July 31st meeting, said Putin's top foreign policy. Said he did not discuss any deals as far as the Saudis paying them off. Said for not equipping them, but so far they haven't really equipped them with much except for contracts of tanks and that have already been signed prior, and they're just fulfilling it. But then you have these S-300s. It says here that the Russia S-300 missiles already built, delivery postponed. So several of the advanced Russia's S-300 missile systems ordered by Syria have been built. However, the delivery was postponed until the year 2014. They ordered them in 2011 at the cost of $1 billion and has paid a deposit of several $100 million. This is something I found just doing a type up, because you hear S-300, what about S-400s? Russia to give S-400 anti-aircraft missiles, the most advanced air defense system, the most developed artillery weapon of its kind to Syria. So yeah, they had to put this in there. They were just talking about chemical weapons getting in the wrong hands. And if so, which I highly doubt, then Russia would also have to make absolutely sure that these advanced technologies will never fall into the, quote, wrong hands. It says NATO calls them the SA-21 Growlers, or surface-to-air missile systems designed to engage all types of aerial targets, including drones, up to with a range of 400 kilometers or 250 miles and altitude of about 10,000 feet. So it says it here it takes 5 to 10 minutes to deploy 48 missiles per system, and the only system capable of selectively deploying one of 5 types of missiles, and all operations are completely automated. Welcome everyone to GGN, Global Government News. My website is ggnonline.net. On YouTube, my channels are DDarko 2012 and DDarko 2013. I do accept donations and I appreciate those who have helped out very much. The website's still up and running, which is a good thing. You have to jump a lot of hoops to keep it up, but I know a lot of other people. I'm not the only one there that's having, getting hit by flak here. A lot of people having problems, even on Blog Talk Radio and stuff. U.S. supported Free Syrian Army downs Iranian cargo plane at Damascus airport. It says, has the long-awaited kinetic strike catalyst finally arrived? Could just be disinfo, Al Arabia, but it says breaking news, FSA downs Iranian cargo plane at Damascus International Airport. So kinetic energy weapons, S-300, S-400s, that's what I meant to throw out there too. You also have the idea of kinetic weapons. Al-Nusra militants kill top Free Syrian Army commander. Members of the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Nusra Front have killed the commander of the so-called Free Syrian Army as rivalries grow among the militant groups fighting against the Syrian government. It's the second time in less than a month that Al-Qaeda-linked militants have killed the FSA commanders. I could have sworn that they actually killed a Kurdish leader. I don't know if it was basically a combat leader, but I'm pretty sure they assassinated somebody, and then of course they also killed 450 Kurds as well. Iraqi Kurdistan opens official crude oil trade route via Iran. The Kurdistan region of Iraq has started to export crude oil by truck to an Iranian port for shipping to Asia, industry sources say, using a trade route that is likely to anger both Baghdad and Washington, as Turkey's support for Syrian rebels and Kurd killings may backfire. Turkey is interested in destabilizing the situation in the Kurdish population areas in Syria, but its support of radical Islamists may lead to violence spilling to the Turkish territories. So, that's why I said shooting themselves in the foot. They're arming these jihadists, these extremists. Like I heard just yesterday, I know they're a big NATO state, so there's a lot of disinfo out there, but Turkey may even be concerned about themselves going down. They're seeing countries go down left and right of them. They may start to get a little concerned about them losing, basically becoming destabilized. And you saw those protests recently over a tree or something. I was a little skeptical of that. It could be like the West, for whatever reason, kind of, creating this, mostly Zionist Israel, creating this whole Kurdish issue right now. I believe that these Al-Qaeda terrorists are headed up by actual democratic countries, governments such as the Pentagon or Mossad and that. But it doesn't really, to me, seem too far-fetched that they would carry out orders given by, say, D.C. or whoever it is, their handlers, these Al-Qaeda terrorists inside Syria, to execute Kurds and create an issue, a real big issue going on there. And you have to remember too, I heard this yesterday. It's a pretty good point. Actually, it was the day before yesterday about autonomous Kurdistan, and I mentioned that before about it being a Zionist proxy state. Well, yeah, they want their autonomy and independence. That's great and everything, but the only way they're going to get that is if they allow banks into their country, especially like foreign banks and that. They allow the gay agenda. They allow drugs and alcohol, feminism. That's the only way they're going to allow them to have that independent state of Kurdistan. Turks advised to leave Lebanon. And of course, if you look on the map, you see how close it is to Russia too. Turks advised to leave Lebanon after Beirut kidnapping. Turkey has called on its citizens to leave Lebanon following the abduction of 2 pilots working for the Turkish Airlines and the Lebanese capital Beirut. Which is funny too, because Turkey was busted as these jihadists that they're working for were kidnapping a Lebanese journalist, and she talked about it and reported on that, and she was actually handed over to Turkey Army officers. Army arrest foreigners infiltrating Erbil from Syria, confiscate suicide vest. Lebanese army announced it had arrested 3 foreigners trying to infiltrate this town of Erbil from the Syrian territories. They also seized weapons and suicide vests, which were with the gunmen. 2 of them are Palestinian nationals, one carrying a European passport, and the third is a Syrian. Syrians brave risk to seek treatment in Israel. So we've heard about the Western-backed terrorists, Al-Qaeda groups, inside Syria actually getting help at Israeli hospitals. But it goes on here and it says here that the Syrians spirited across the border by the Israeli military for medical treatment, unavailable amid the civil war at home. Silent because he cannot speak Hebrew, nervous because his presence in Israel and Syria's longtime enemy could place his family in danger if his trip is discovered. And talking about, it's just insane because, whether anybody in the mainstream media wants to admit this benefits Israel big time. Israel is definitely behind these people not having medical care and having to go to the Zionists and basically try to scamper around to try to get help, to try to get some care. Sleeman urges expanded probe into Israeli incursion. President President of Lebanon, urged the Lebanese army Thursday to expand its investigation into the explosion that wounded several Israeli soldiers who had crossed into Lebanon. They said it was yet another violation of the resolution 1701 and Lebanese sovereignty when the Israeli enemy infiltrated their territory. Israeli troops set ablaze Oak Forest in South Lebanon. Zionist soldiers have set ablaze the Oak Forest in the Lebanese southern town of Hula on Wednesday. So it says here the occupation military unit was on a security mission in the Lebanese territory at dawn on Wednesday when an IED exploded. So that's what we were talking about. But it says here that the U.S. Air Force chief completes secretive week-long visit to Israel, reportedly kept secret due to an American request for confidentiality in light of regional tensions, which are being stoked, set ablaze by them. Israeli drone strike kills 5 in the Sinai Peninsula, Egypt security officials have said. 5 people have been killed in an attack carried out by an Israeli drone in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, which has been witnessing a surge in deadly violence since the ouster of Morsi, which was just now finally admitted by John McCain that it was a coup and that there's going to be some deadly violence going on pretty soon, bloodshed. Egypt, as if there wasn't already, they're just now acknowledging, I guess. Egypt claims jihadists fired U.S. Hellfire missile at government office. Jihadists in Egypt's lawless Sinai Peninsula are using U.S. weapons to carry out attacks against the temporary government in the wake of military ouster of Morsi. And also dozens injured in clashes between Egypt forces and protesters. That's the latest as of today. Anti-U.S. hostility ramps up in Egypt. Media outlets blast American policies, further straining ties. Science Anna Patterson, leave Egypt now and go to hell. Obama, you can't fool your people and the world anymore. You finance and back terrorism. They refer to, says here, Egyptian state newspaper referred to the proposed U.S. envoy to Egypt as the ambassador of death. But this is all part of the anti-Americanism that I've talked about before. They have legitimate concerns, but, how much power do the people over here really have? It's all being done in their name, drone strikes in Yemen and what's going on. So it says here, the reservoir of anti-Americanism and conspiracy theories. Saudi Arabia arrests 2 suspects plotting terror attacks. So they arrested 2 planning suicide attacks in the kingdom. So pretty interesting as we're talking about them possibly having some destabilization as well. State Department evacuates almost all American diplomats from the U.S. consulate in Pakistan after receiving specific terror threat. Militants attack Pakistani mosque and kill 9 people. So, and this comes after a suicide bomber killed 38 people at a police funeral in the same city. 172 people killed in Pakistan during Ramadan, including 13 cops. You see this article from today. Pakistan had become the new major terror ground in just months. I just heard a YouTuber say, what's up with all these terror alerts in these weird countries? And we covered that as well, but not in places like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and then boom, today, here it is. So what we're really talking about is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and Pakistani separatism. You have to remember, a lot of these countries, these Middle Eastern countries and Central Asia, they were formed together, like Iraq. They were put together by the British, by the West, in order to basically siphon off the resources. And in Syria, nearly 4,500 killed in Syria during Ramadan. Said about immigration coming soon to U.S. Syrian refugees as part of a major policy shift.